Hey, it's Isabella Taylor, Australia's youngest interviewer here, and welcome to the Inspired By podcast. Do you wake up excited to start your day? I've been an inspirational story chaser since I was 6 years old. Everyone I've interviewed loves what they do, and to them, it's not work. I'm so excited. Are you ready? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go, people! This is a packed episode with 3 leading lights from around Australia. Don Meij, Australian business entrepreneur and the Group Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of Domino's Pizza Enterprises. Nicola Forrest AO, co-founder and co-chair of the Minderoo Foundation. And Matt Moran AM, Australian celebrity chef and restaurateur.
Mr. Meij, it is wonderful to meet you. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me today.
My pleasure. Thank you for asking.
You're an Australian business entrepreneur and Group CEO, Managing Director of Domino's Pizza Enterprises. And does CEO stand for Chief Enthusiasm Officer?
It does. So officially, people would call it the Chief Executive Officer. So in other words, the top executive of the company before the board. We employ tens of thousands of people all over the world. So my job's to bring the enthusiasm and the energy to the business.
If we can start by going back to your early life.
I love my childhood. I have really, really good memories. I'm a really proud Queenslander. I'm a really proud Australian. And I think by living in Papua New Guinea for 5 years, it helped give me a more global view of the world because the primary school I went to was an international primary school.
What did you dream to become when you were my age?
I didn't really know when I was really, really young. When I was a few years older than you, I wanted to be a policeman. And then I wanted to be a school teacher. I really loved art. And so I studied to be an art and a social science economics teacher. And then I didn't finish my degree because I started in the pizza business. Inside me, there was always this desire to want to go and create things and build things. And so that's why I didn't end up teaching as a school teacher, that is. As I said, I still teach today, but in a different way. And I delivered pizzas for 2 years while I was at university or college back then. I feel that I'm a dreamer and a builder because a lot of people are builders in life that build things. And then there's dreamers and they need builders to help them build their dreams. In my case, I feel like as an entrepreneur, sometimes you end up being both.
Quote, when I got to the end of my degree, I realised it wasn't for me. I had that entrepreneurial streak and that repetitive part of learning was not inspiring enough.
You've done a lot of really good research. That's very accurate. There's sometimes a light bulb goes off in your mind and it just says, hey, this is who I really am and this is what I really want to do. And that was to try and be an entrepreneur.
At what age did the entrepreneurial path become irresistible?
So my first time I knew I had an entrepreneurial streak was when I was 13. And a friend of mine and I, we wanted to make money because we wanted to be able to buy, I wanted a pair of billabongs. We thought, well, if I'm going to buy a pair of billabongs, then I need to earn money. And a friend of mine and I set up our own first little business at 13. We then went and asked shops if they wanted their windows cleaned. And we were entrepreneurs because what we did is we said, if we wash your windows, if you don't like what we did, we'll do it for free. But if you like what we did, you could maybe pay us for what you think it was worth. And some people didn't pay us. Maybe we didn't do a good enough job and it made us better. And other people paid us $2 or $3 or someone really generous might pay us $5. And so within a couple of weeks, I had a pair of billabongs and I went, wow, this works. What happens sometimes is things around and people around us maybe give us, take away some of our confidence of that creativity. But actually inside all of us, it's potentially there.
At what age do you feel that your entrepreneurial spirit, which must have been quite powerful, actually overcame the obstacles to break free, enabling you to then follow your dream?
I look back sometimes and I even scare myself that how I thought of something and I was so confident. But when I look back at how I made those decisions, sometimes I was a little bit lucky as well as making a good decision. If I look over a longer period of time, actually luck follows brave people. So people who go and challenge themselves and push themselves. When I look at the decision that I made to work in the business, then buy my own franchises and then take Domino's to other parts of the world, They were quite brave decisions when I look back on them.
Can you share with us from how you went from delivering pizzas to becoming CEO of Domino's Pizza Enterprises?
I think good things happen to people who do a lot of good things. People say, the business is so big now, how do I get to the top? We believe in the results that you get. That's what's really important. It's not how many hours you do in a day. It's more about what did you actually achieve. And people who achieve a lot start rising to the top.
What advice would you offer to all the young children out there to encourage them to start their dream?
Definitely follow your dreams. Don't let people tell you that your dreams are not the dreams that you should have. You should take advice. You are who you are, not what other people want you to be. The second thing to that is that whatever happens in your life, you're going to have to work hard at it. Nothing just is just given that easily. Good things come from working hard. When you do something, be working at it with a passion. Second thing is, and I mentioned it earlier, things will go wrong and don't blame others. Take responsibility for when things go wrong. If you were part of that decision, own it, learn from it. And then the third one is surround yourself with good people, because it's the people around you that will help you in life, and you will also help them. So it's really important how you select your friends. It's really important how you select the people that are helping you in your dream. It's really, really important.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today and sharing your inspirational journey thus far.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming and unearthing this for all the young people that are going to watch this. I think telling stories is often a good roadmap for somebody. You don't know which story is going to light somebody up, but that's what's helped me in my life, is that I've watched people and followed their stories, and they've been very inspiring to me and become a little bit of a roadmap for my life. Thank you, and well done.
Mrs. Nicola Forrest, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with me.
That's my pleasure. I was delighted to hear from you, Isabella.
Not only you and your husband, Mr. Andrew Forrest, overcome unbelievable challenges to achieve incredible success financially, and that's where most entrepreneurs leave it.
When something happens in your life and you create empathy because there's been a sickness or an illness or something's happened, it makes you understand how much that affects your life, and therefore there's many other people that could be affected. And Andrew and I both grew up in the country, and I think that is a great upbringing and background to understand the complexities of life and death and community. And so we both realised that if we ever had the opportunity, we wanted to be able to give back and help other people. We can all make a difference. And it is in the communities that we live in, and it's the small things, even being kind, or looking someone in the eye and saying, are you actually okay?
Would you describe your childhood as idyllic?
I grew up on a farm, and we had sheep and wheat and cows, and I had horses. So I used to ride my horse every day and ride up to the shearing shed and help my father muster the cattle. And
what did you dream to become when you were around my age?
I used to think that I would work with animals because I just loved animals, and I thought for a while that I might like to be a vet. But I also liked, my father always had an office and he had this big old typewriter, and I used to love going and hitting the old keys and writing letters and pretending that I was working in an office. And I don't know really where that came from, but I used to like pretending that I was managing in an office. So I had a mixture. I didn't really know.
When I was little, I used to want to be a vet, but then I kept changing my mind to then I want to be a marine biologist, and then I think I found what I wanted to be.
But you know what, it keeps changing, and that's okay. I think as you learn more things, you think, oh, I could want to do that. And the more you know, the more you learn, the more you realise there's so much more out there. And it's exciting, actually.
What advice would you offer to all the children out there to encourage them to start their dream?
I think the really important thing is you've got to follow what you like. You have to learn to know what inspires you or excites you and makes you happy. And if you can pursue that and follow that, then that will take you on a journey. And there's many different ways. And I think the other really important thing is to find mentors who are working in that place that you want to go and learn from them, even if it's online or reading books. And I actually saw a speech on Matthew McConaughey, and his speech was about the fact that for him, who was his mentor? Who was it that he wanted to look up to in 10 years? And he said he wanted it to be himself in 10 years. So he wanted to be the best person he could be for himself.
Having started, what would you advise in terms of them dealing with the hardships they need to overcome to reach success for whatever their dream may be?
From what I've learned in my life and what I've observed, I think we all learn more when things don't go the way we hope they do. I'm a great planner. I've always been a planner, and you can plan and think you know everything. And when things don't go the way you want them, that's when you have to, you get taken aback, and you actually learn more from that than it just going along the way you want. And then look and reassess and try again and never give up.
We hear so much about the uncertainty of what the jobs of the future are going to be with robotics and AI.
Creativity and innovation, that comes from the human brain and the human psyche, not from computers. So we can put creativity into computers, but they rely on us to continue to change that. So I think there's going to be, I hope, there's going to be another age of enlightenment and maybe another renaissance of more art and more creativity.
You have 3 children, Grace, Sophia and Sydney. In what ways do they inspire you in your journey?
The thing that inspires me most is that they actually have empathy. They actually think about other people, and they think about the lens of how someone might feel or be affected by a situation. And I think that's a really powerful tool, because if you can think for other people, then you're going to make much better decisions than just thinking for yourself.
How do you prepare them for the fast-changing world that they are going to inherit?
We can only teach from our own experiences, and I think that's a scary thing for all parents, because the world is changing so quickly. We know things from our lens, but I think preparing any of us for the future and the fast pace is being true to ourselves and having integrity and always doing what you say you're going to do and always telling the truth.
You are so inspirational, and I believe your story will inspire many young change makers to follow their dreams.
The first change makers that I'm seeing are my own children. Your generation have got the great advantage that you have access to technology and information, and you're empowered to be able to make decisions. I think Andrew has particularly inspired me in that he's not afraid of anything. And most of all, not afraid of being criticised. You know, if you believe in something and you've got evidence to back it up, it's great to be able to follow that and try and make a difference. And I think that does inspire people. Inherent in the Minderoo Foundation is the fact that a thriving, healthy community needs to have a creative hub to it. And people need to be able to tell their stories. And an artistic flavour, whether it's theatre or painting or videos, gives people the opportunity to share their stories and create empathy from other people. And so I think across the different areas that we work with in Minderoo, we try and share those stories of people and stories of courage and creativity. So I think that helps. It helps inspire the people that we work with, and it also helps to inspire and bring others along on the journey.
Mrs. Nicola Forrest, I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the fantastic life-changing work that your family is doing.
Oh, thank you very much, Isabella. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
Matt Moran, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with me today.
Absolute pleasure, Isabella.
You're an Australian chef and also a very well-known celebrity chef on a variety of TV cooking shows, including My Restaurant Rules, The Chopping Block, MasterChef, Paddock to Plate, and The Great Australian Bake Off.
That's a few shows, isn't it?
You were born in Tamworth, New South Wales, Australia, and are a 4th-generation farmer. Can we start by going back to your early life and the kind of childhood that you enjoyed?
I was born in Tamworth on a sheep farm. I had an older brother who's a year older, so he was my best mate. Then we had a dairy farm and we used to have milk fights. And having a milk fight on a dairy farm is very different to what you would think it would be. It's like grab your own cow and you squeeze the teat and you squirt each other with milk from the cow. True story. I'm a big believer in, and I'll tell you why I'm very lucky, Isabella, because I didn't really know what I wanted to do until I started working. And I just wanted to leave school and I became a cook or a chef. And you know what? I've never worked a day in my life. You know why? Because I love what I do and I don't classify it as work. You would hate to go to work every day going, I don't like what I do. So I think that's really important. So I think you always encourage people to do what they want to do in life. And I think if you want it bad enough, you'll always get there. Strangely enough, and you probably don't know this one because I don't think I've ever said it before, but when I got into cooking and I was doing my apprenticeship, I used to top the college every year. First or second, I think, nearly every time.
Can you share with us how you became an apprentice chef at 15 to what you have achieved to date?
I was very lucky. I got a job at one of the best restaurants in Sydney called La Berheline after about 20 interviews. And I worked there, and then I went and worked in another restaurant after 5 years, which was one of the best restaurants. And then I decided that I didn't want to work for anyone anymore, so I bought my own restaurant when I was 22 with my partner, Pete.
You said, I just thought to myself, if it fails, I can just go start again.
Yep.
Give it a crack. Do you still agree with that statement?
You know, I was very young, didn't care. I cared, of course, I wanted it to succeed, but, you know, I always thought, you know, we'll see how we go, and if it doesn't work, you know.
At what moment did you realise that your dream would be related to food?
Not until I really started cooking at La Berheline, and the reason being is because I came from a very basic food background, and working at La Berheline, I saw what they could do with all this food, and it really blew my mind. I thought it was amazing that you know, I just fell in love with it. You know, not just eating it, but I fell in love with creating it.
How did that change your life from that moment on?
I went into it because I wanted to leave school, but then when I fell in love with it, I didn't really have any expectations of owning my own restaurant or anything like that. I just did it because I really enjoyed it, and then I think all the other things just came with what I was doing. So, you know, because I loved it so much, I bought a restaurant. I thought, wow, I never thought I'd own a restaurant. Never thought I'd be on TV, never thought I'd write a cookbook, never thought I'd own multiple restaurants, but that just sort of snowballed. I don't know where it all went wrong or went right.
I think it went right. What have been the greatest challenges along the way to you developing your dream to the level you have?
There's been lots of challenges in life. You know, when I opened my first restaurant, I didn't really understand how to run a business, but I knew how to cook, so I had to learn how to run a business, and I surrounded myself with really good people and people that know how to do it probably better than I did back in those days.
You've achieved incredible success in your chosen field. Have the sacrifices that you've had to make been worthwhile?
Absolutely. You know, I worked very hard when I was 15 and very young, and I think you work hard and work, you know, when you're young, it's a good thing to do.
What advice would you offer to children to encourage and enable them to follow their dreams?
Do it because you love doing it, and don't do it for any other reason. Someone wants you to do it, or you think you're going to be famous, you know, it doesn't work. It's too damn hard. Do it because you love it, and things come easy, a lot easier to you.
How important has it been having good mentors along the way?
It's been so important to have good mentors along the way, because they're the ones that you look up to and you respect and you listen to when you need advice. My first chef was a great mentor to me, and I'd asked him for advice, and then I met a good business person that I asked them for advice, and I became friends with them. And you know, I still have people that are no relation to me that I catch up with every 6 months, and we have a lunch, and I ask them for advice. I think it's really important that you want to learn, you've got to ask questions.
I really appreciate you taking the time to share your experience and wisdom with other children who are beginning their journey of following their dreams.
Isabella, it was an absolute pleasure. In fact, I've got a little present for you, which I'm just going to grab now. And that's my latest cookbook, and I've written in it for you. And you can take that home. And I just noticed a tattoo on your arm. And I'm pretty sure I know what that is. That's the Thankful for Farmers tattoo, isn't it? That is fantastic.
Thank you, Don, Nicola, and Matt, for sharing your inspirational journeys with us thus far. I hope this episode sets your passions on fire. Love to see you in the next episode. Head to inspiredby.com.au. Thank you so much for listening.